So everyone who's participating in the Catching Starlight program is instructed to do a practicum. What is this? This has to do with the full end-to-end process of making an astrological talisman. So this means settling on a core desire, integrating all the principles, having a design of your talisman, choosing the material, creating the ritual structure, writing it all down, showing your work and showing your justification for each part, and then presenting it to me and presenting it to your peers. And then I and the peers in the program critique this. And if it meets the specifications and the criteria of the class, then you pass your practicum. This puts you in a state of beyond just being able to read a bunch of information, but make sense of it and see how it actually gets integrated and put into practice. Because my goal in Catching Starlight is to create historically aware and practically skilled talisman makers. Talisman makers that can look at a problem in the world or in their lives, think about what is the kind of planet and the area of life that I need to augment in order to solve this, and then design and create a talisman based off of traditional principles and feel confident inside a ritual space to ensoul it and make it reality. And if I've been able to get myself there, I definitely know I can teach probably literally anyone to get to where I'm at. I never really thought that I was going to really go ahead and teach this process for making astrological talismans from Picatrix and Agrippa. Really, I'm teaching this as a way to honor the transit of Jupiter in Cancer, this very auspicious placement, but also to all of the teachers that I've had. Last year, I found out that one of the teachers that's had one of the largest impacts in my entire life, back from the days of just starting out my traditional Japanese martial arts study, had passed away. And he passed away very young, very unexpected. It was very tragic. This is an individual whose influence and time that they spent with me and the advice that they gave me, I can draw a through line to many of the core pillars of my life. We would talk about, of course, life. We talk about religion, theology, magic, esotericism, which I loved, all in between drilling, rolls, punches, and getting thrown over his shoulder by my jugular vein at whoever I was partnered up to train with that day. A wild mix of situations. As a Buddhist, there's this strong emphasis on the interdependency of phenomena, or the understanding that what arises in our life is dependent on the circumstances that came before it. So it's hard not to see the role he played and the ideas that he had where we're going to be training to go train in Japan. So one day we need to all be learning Japanese. So during my college years, I took 2 years of Japanese, became quite fluent enough to travel around the country, took myself to the main dojo and trained there. That was one of the first times I was able to see, wow, Josh is capable of accomplishing a 4-year goal, or a goal in a 4-year time span. That being the same trip, I meet the individual that I'm engaged to right now. That also being the trip where I have direct, visceral experiences of Mikkyo Buddhism, or the Japanese traditions of esoteric Buddhism and esoteric mountaineering shamanism, and engaged in a number of rituals which fully influence the fact that I am a Buddhist priest today. Remembering the one-on-one lesson I had with him, where we slowly went through all of the various positions that one can hold their body within the tradition, with the added little element of our whole body being the mudra, or this sacred position, the sacred geometry, which influences all of our own being and fate itself. And now being a direct disciple of a 35th generation Buddhist priest whose whole thing is that the body is the mudra, and through the mudra of how we dance and sing, we can find our way to liberation in this life. Those connections are not lost on me. He was a very complex individual, and I'm grateful that I got to have this experience with him and now of his memory that really was some of the best parts possible for me. And he passed right before Jupiter entered Cancer. And so with Jupiter in Cancer being this supreme exalted position of Jupiter, where Jupiter is the most idealistic, the most beneficent, the most willing to give and to teach and to provide indiscriminately. And that's why everyone who passes the practicum gets one of my Jupiter Domain of Exaltation talismans that I made. If you want, it's not forced. And that's the only way I'm planning on dispersing them. Since my sensei, I've been really blessed to have a string of incredible teachers and incredible gurus, and all of them have been complex and multifaceted individuals. But if there really is like a true blessing in everyone I've learned from, is that in the moments I'm learning from them, I'm getting some of the best parts of them that they have to give. And that is the genuine inspiration and the genuine aspiration, dedication, and motivation I have for teaching, catching Starlight. And even if I'm not able to perfectly give that, and I think I do a pretty darn good job, the people who sat through the 46 hours of instruction in order to cut their teeth to be a bona fide talisman maker, for those who've been able to do that, then those receive the Jupiter in Cancer Domain of Exaltation talisman, receive that same blessing that I've had in their lives forever for the rest of their life. May they always find the knowledge and the wisdom that they seek. May they always find the teachers to give them that information and knowledge that they truly need along their path of liberation, along their path of life, to take them exactly where they need to be. For me, this is the place that my practice of astrological magic has led me, and I can only teach it from this place. So if you'd like to learn, whenever that may be, you know where to find me.